Well, it gets down to the old cliche, when you have the fox overlooking the hen house, you know what happens. When you have people in Montgomery that are in control of these two-year systems like they have been for decades, this is not a problem that just arose and eventually caused the problem that has now resulted in this election being held. It's something that's been going on for decades. And they let it fester to the point that they realize that there are a lot of people who are enjoying the benefits both of two different systems. They're receiving two paychecks. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to send people down there with the will to recognize problems. We can talk about not only that, but the issues that have been addressed today. There is absolutely no need for the issues that are facing our state today to go beyond the next legislative session. But you have to have people with the will, the courage, and the commitment to step up and say that this will not happen. And we're going to look at our other programs. I think now we also need to look at some of our four-year programs, because the cesspool, that is going to be the next place where there's going to be the same problem, because our legislators are involved in the four-year systems just like they were the two-year. So we need to address that problem, step up to the plate, get it out of the way, and move on for the people of the state of Alabama.
I'm going to start my answer with that by issuing another quote. Jeb Bush recently said the state of American politics was putrid. Now, this all goes back to your question. I don't know if cesspool of corruption is quite strong enough, but again, it all starts with the culture that's in Montgomery now. The culture of your elected officials. What do they stand for? We talk about double dipping. You talk about a legislator who has a job with a two-year college, or say he works with a large law firm. They each have their own agenda. The only difference being this person is you have one who is already a state employee. They're all going to have their own personal agenda to gain from. This is where the transparency comes from. This is where knowing who that person is beholden to comes from. When you're elected, you represent the people, you represent them all. You don't represent a narrow interest. And I think we have lost that, and you've seen that with the necessity of the chancellor of the two-year system instituting this policy. I think it stops when you change the culture, the climate, and the tenor of the politics in Montgomery as they are. And that's much easier said than done. So.
Yes, as Stephen said, that's issue that comes down to accountability. Accountability, folks. It's just we've got to hold our folks accountable for their actions, and it's been going on for so long that they just got in it was just business as usual. But I believe the issue's been addressed, and I believe the problem will be turned around, and we'll just have to stay on top of it. But that's the whole thing to me is accountability. We've got to be answerable to y'all, the taxpayers. Y'all are the boss, and that's what they in Montgomery need to understand. That you, the taxpayers, the boss. Thank you.
When the system was established, it was set up so that political debts could be repaid by hiring people in the position. That has gone on for the past 40-something years, and we have had the fox watching the hen house. That has now changed. We've got somebody else there taking a look at it. A friend of mine that is deep into contracts told me a few weeks ago that when you're dealing with a crook, there is not enough paper that can be written to correct a problem that's going to come up, because they're going to beat you sooner or later. If you're dealing with an honest individual and a mistake is made, then it can be corrected. We need to start dealing with honest individuals and do some background checks on the individuals who are being put in these positions of spending money. Until we get honest people with integrity leading our two-year system, the situation is not going to change. But with people of integrity, and I think with Governor Riley and with Chancellor Burns, that we have people of integrity there. just this week, we saw where that the prior chancellor of the school's driver has pled guilty to being the bag man of taking the money and spreading it around. Well, this needs to change, and I think with the proper leadership and the proper people put in the positions of authority, then it can happen. And I will quote our past president, Ronald Reagan, trust but verify.